Hello and welcome to the first ever podcast of the Young Time, podcast. I think today we're going to be talking about console wars or the PC
Yeah,
Master Race
yeah,
against each other.
yeah. So
Uh,
essentially, console versus PC, and comparing the two factors of why you should go console and why you should go PC to help you make a decision.
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of debate going around that
Mm,
the new consoles, they're better than PC.
yeah,
I could dispute that argument right there. The fact is you can't really just put PC into one category because there's just so many
mm,
builds and so many different budgets.
yeah. Like obviously, we both originally started on Xbox, and when we both now have PCs. So when I was upgrading from my Xbox to my PC, I just felt one of the main things I felt I get out of my PC is like freedom and ability, which is something I don't feel you can get as well in consoles. If that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think it's just like when someone says, "Oh yeah, for £500, there's no PC that can beat it." I just think, like you said with freedom, it's like you have much more ability to do whatever you
Mm,
want on PC. Like you can't. It's not just about gaming. It's just the ability to do your work, the ability to do everything on it, ability to have
yeah,
more. You could talk to anyone. So let's say you have a friend on PS4, but you also have a friend on Xbox. If you on one of those consoles, you couldn't talk to them, but on
yeah,
PC you can because you can all connect through one platform.
yeah. Like that PC definitely brings a lot more opportunity because there is obviously the debate that, for example, especially the price of the new next gen consoles, and you can get, let's say, like an Xbox One S for about £100 when you could get like a decent gaming PC, which would cost you more 700 to 800. But the main sort of thing with a PC is that it, for A, holds its value better. So if you can always just sell it as a pre-built, and sometimes you could even make money depending on how much the parts like inflate in price, and you can always upgrade it. Because I feel like Xboxes, you would get like the Xbox One, then you would get the next one, then you would sell that old Xbox at like less money, and then buy the newer one. When I feel like with a PC, all you have to do is just buy the new part, sell the old one, and it's just sort of a constant cycle. So you're never really losing that money.
I mean, you're always going to lose money depending on any factor, but
Yeah.
it's like what people see is they just see value, and
Mm.
the Xbox, I can agree, it does do 1080p, 60 frames per second,
Mm.
and it will do that, but
Yeah.
that's the price point of £500. But I think just the inflation, which is I think that's what the business wanted.
Yeah.
I think they wanted to put the price up.
Mm. No,
But I
I
think
just feel like because the thing is when like for me when I was looking to get my computer, like obviously I game a lot and I do gaming, but there is also other factors to why a PC for me would be beneficial because there are some people that our PC isn't going to be beneficial for, which is why we're essentially making this. But there are some people that I definitely think um, need the PC. But I feel like it is a big sort of decision, and I was very hesitant when I was getting my PC because I was like, oh, it's a lot of money. My Xbox is still, I'm able to play Fortnite, Minecraft, GTA, all of those sort of games, still at a not bad FPS. But then I just sort of looked at the opportunity and the freedom that a PC brings, and that's just something I just don't feel the Xbox has.
yeah, you talked about like people needing it. Like you got to actually look if you are looking to upgrade to a PC or the next gen console. You got to see like what is this what I want? Like is this what I need? Are
Mm,
all my friends on this? And that is a factor. Is
mm,
what are your friends on? Because if all your friends get PS5s and you get the new Xbox, you see the problem. If all your friends are on
yeah.
Xbox and you get the new PC, you see the problem. Now with
Mm,
me, all my friends got PCs, so it was only right. It would make no sense I would get the new Xbox, and that's also
exactly.
a factor.
Mm. Yeah, I just feel like um also because the thing is, obviously Xboxes, right, with the initial like let's say for the Xbox One, right, which is what I had before. Now you look at it, you can get the Xbox. Let's just say if you didn't buy it off launch and you bought it, off of eBay or some sort of aftermarket reseller, I suppose if you could say that. And you get your console, right? Then you have to then you have to buy all the games. Plus, if it's an online game, you have to pay Xbox monthly or yearly for Xbox Live Gold, which essentially would allow you to pay for online games. And all of those costs add up. So if you get an Xbox, and in some ways, if you plan to have that Xbox for a solid amount of years, it's going to still cost you a lot of money.
Yeah, and I think it's also like if people say, "Oh yeah, I'm paying £1,000 for a PC, I can't do that. I'll just be paying 500 for this." It's not, and I think I
Mm.
think Xbox has actually upped their price of gold. I think it was originally or it was at Ultimate. I think it was originally 90 or
Mm.
60, and they just upped it to 120 for the new Xbox, and I think that's just outrageous.
Plus the fact that game prices are constantly just going up and up. And I feel like PC, either you can get more games for free, or you can just get them for cheaper or in sales. And I feel like
Yeah, Steam
cost
sales are
efficient
mental.
wise, like you don't think about it, but I feel like PC have a bigger startup cost. But I think in order to sort of have a constant stream of games and entertainment, I feel like a PC is definitely in the long run, possibly a cheaper option.
Yeah, it's just a startup to be honest, and it's
Mm.
like I saw you mentioned about price for the PS. It's actually I think
Yep.
some of the games like, I think it was NBA 2K 2021. I think
Yeah,
it
FIFA
was
for example as well. FIFA's on the upwards.
yeah.
Some FIFA's like
Yeah,
£90.
all the games on the PS5 are 90, and that makes no sense to me because I see Steam and they do deals, and some of the games are like 20 or even £5, and it's like,
Exactly. And to get me wrong, like Xbox, like I feel like PC as well, it's a lot more time consuming if you either would like that or you don't like. Because I feel like it's so much faster or dependent on your specs of your computer, but I feel like it's a lot faster to install and download games on a PC. Like you could wait ages to download a game on the PlayStation or Xbox. By the time it's downloaded, you could may not be as excited. Like PC, you can get some games that would take half an hour to 45 minutes on an Xbox in like 2, 3 minutes on a computer. So I just feel like that's something that is just hard for a console to compare to.
yeah, like some of the videos that people like reviewing, like these people that don't really know that much about computers. I mean, or like anything about specs, and they just say, "Oh yeah, this new Xbox has something like called an SSD. I don't know what that is, but apparently it's like supersonic speed." And I'm thinking about it. I'm like, we've had that for years, and
Exactly.
it just shows like if they just got SSD now, what happens when they upgrade? Because I think they're on AMD graphics cards. What happens when they first go to Nvidia and they first start trying out RTX? I think their
Yeah.
Minecraft has RTX.
Mhm. Well, I feel like what you may think is we are being a bit biased towards PCs, but that's just
No, I
because,
will go in later of why I put why you should
yeah, we'll go
probably
in
get
more
one.
about Xbox to why Xbox is
Yeah.
more as well compared to PCs. But I feel like just since we've had our PCs, it's just so revolutionary to us and to like our gaming experience and the quality of our gaming that it's hard to be able to compare the two. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I like the loading times. Like it's just
Yeah, it's
amazing.
just like I can look onto GTA and like story mode like a minute, online like 3 minutes. When the Xbox it would take about 6 minutes. Do you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
it's just those small things that you're really able to notice. I feel like just really just make the PC just really, really brilliant.
I want to say I think Discord like is obviously Discord now got like really popular because of Among Us, and I think that's like one of the reasons because of its success, Among Us.
Mm,
But I
mm,
think Discord, it's the way that Discord was like put out, and I think it's so good for the PC community that you can't really, and the way that it just shows how glitchy the Xbox servers are
party.
because yeah, these party servers because they are
Mm,
really glitchy,
yeah, they're
and
very glitchy.
and as soon as I had Discord, I haven't had any problems with it, just
Mm.
none.
No, but I think another factor towards PC is that, like, it's an experience. Like, it's a very expensive experience, but I feel like a lot of people look at a PC and they think, "Oh, that's so complicated. How am I going to build that?" But it's just like it's one of those things that is once you know, you know. And I've only ever built two PCs. Isaac's, and mine. And it's just, I feel like I could make any PC now because it's just so well done and well explained via YouTube videos or anything. It's just, and it's like it's an experience. It's like you can clean it. You've got like things to take care of, and you just when you slot the RAM in or drop the CPU in, it's just like I can't describe it, but you get what I mean.
Yeah. It's like it won't. I don't know how to explain it. It's really hard to explain because it is
Yeah,
like you say experience. It's like trying to explain Disneyland to a 4-year-old. You have to feel it to
yeah,
notice it. But um, how do you? It's like because I'm not sure because when you first like look at like picking all the parts of your PC, you're like, oh yeah, I'm looking at this. It's just all seems so
mm,
complicated. I when I spoke to this guy on Discord when I was on my Mac. I was like, oh yeah, can we do a part picker list? He didn't he was good, but he kind of like only knew his PC and only did it off his one. So he gave me like I don't know, i7 10
mm,
400K at a 3070. I just looked at the
yeah,
price and I was like, I looked at the price in that single 3070. I was like, that's literally my whole budget right there. And he was like, oh no, you got to go with this. You got to get this amount of frames. You got to get this. He didn't know about like how you can go with like other cheaper graphics cards and anyway, it just
yeah,
sometimes I think it's a little bit overwhelming to show because I think the TikTok
mm,
community, I think like some of them just they glorify it a bit
yeah.
too
I can
much.
agree. I can agree. But I feel like it's like just for me when you're building a PC, which I feel like this is a good way to describe it, is for me when we were building my PC, we were planning it for months,
Oh my
weren't we?
god.
Like we had part lists and we would change it. Something would go out of stock, we'd
I
find a
mean,
cheaper, more efficient price, and it's like when you actually come to build it, it's just like your work is complete. Like what you like a challenge that you've set for yourself, you've achieved. Because I'm not gonna lie, when I was building my computer, I was terrified that I was gonna put the CPU in wrong and ruin the pins, or I was gonna
oh
mess
no.
something up. But yeah, it all worked. It all works.
Yeah, I mean, I saw my old palm picker list of the one that I did for you, and I gave you the 011, which the whole community
Dynamic.
on TikTok
Yeah.
just completely wrecks it now because I didn't
Mm.
realize that the actual case was made for water cooling. You
Mm.
don't put like
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. If you're gonna get water liquid cooling, then it's definitely good, especially if you're gonna get like a custom rig. Um, it's definitely of one of the best cases for that in the market, and aesthetically, it's very good. But I'm more into sort of a bit more of a smaller, compact case that's got good airflows. It's got exhaust intake, um, like good and like you know what I mean. But yeah, yeah,
and I think with like, if you're comparing like Xboxes to PC, I think it's like the price. I think the price is something that a lot of people kind of miss out on. They're like when I first
mm,
decided about getting a PC, I didn't think its price is a factor, but it is one of the most. It's the keyest
yeah.
factor in the whole thing because a budget can make your gaming PC from a sweeper to like a complete machine that could do anything. Like and even NASA couldn't compare to it. And I've seen like machine 33090s. Like what the hell are you gonna do with that?
It's just completely over the top. But essentially, like, if you've got the money to, then why not? But it's just there's so much. Like, I feel like when I was trying to build my PC, I would follow like loads of different accounts on TikTok to try help me give me some advice towards my PC and to give me some tips. And it's just like so many different places, like so many different accounts had so many different views. So essentially, when it comes to building a PC, you can't just listen to what a bunch of people are saying. You need to just sort of do what you feel right. You need to do your research. You need to see what's in stock, what's at a good price. Make sure you're not paying a really inflated price because we all know that like graphics cards and CPUs tend to go up and down. So you need to just keep an eye out on price, make sure, and you can save. Even just doing that and just monitoring prices, you could save a few £100s.
Yeah, and I think I think there is. I think there's no such thing as like the best £500 build, the best £700 build. I think it's the best build for the person. Like,
Yeah.
when you're building a PC, and that's the problem, because I see like YouTube videos. Oh yeah, this is the best budget build for £400. It's like, it's not, because if it was a budget build for 400, how do you know they're a gamer or a video editor? Because there's two things. Because there's two different graphics cards that would give you different performance for that. And
Yeah.
that's the problem. And one will put the price up, one will put the price down, and it's something that they don't mention a lot.
Yeah, like I feel like you need to also to make sure that if you're building a PC, like as Isaac said, you need to make sure you're doing it according to what. So for me, obviously I have my schoolwork, so that's not really like a factor that has really made me sway away from a gaming PC. But if you want to use your computer for work or your college or university or something like that, then you may want to consider getting something also slightly a bit more towards like the work and that performance side as opposed to just FPS and gaming. But for me, someone who's going to mostly use this computer for gaming, then it's definitely better for me to go for something a bit more gaming oriented.
Yeah, it's like with the gaming laptops. I mean, I could talk for hours about gaming laptops.
Oh,
And
me too.
to be honest, when they were first, a gaming laptop is titled, if you go on like any like, I don't know, Currys or eBuyer, it'll be titled as portable. It is not portable in the slightest.
Oh no,
If
they're
you're
like
going-
weigh like
if
a
you're
ton.
going- If you're going, it's not weight. It's battery. If you're
Yeah,
going,
that's true.
if you're going to use a gaming laptop portable, you may as well just sell it, because there's no point to get the most amount of performance that you're paying for it. And I'm talking about 1,000 plus to even get to performance of high-end PCs or even a console. A console can
Yeah.
beat it for that price.
No, but I do feel like there are some factors which I will explain as to why I would suggest a gaming laptop. Like, let's say it's like, for example, let's say you've got divorced parents and you're going from house to house and you want to be able to, like, you don't want to spend £900 on a computer that you're only going to be able to use half the time. Then I feel like a gaming laptop is something that could work because you could just sort of take it to and fro, connect it to a monitor or a TV, and then you can take it. Because I feel like to a certain extent it is portable. Well, it's definitely more portable than a computer, at least.
Yeah, but then you got to think. Well, if you're taking it from house to house, you got to think how. Oh, we got to take the keyboard, got to take the mouse, got to take the monitor, because you're going to think that you're going to have the same amount of peripherals at the two houses. I wouldn't think so, because those peripherals cost a lot of money. So it's like
That is true.
just the amount of money that you're paying for a gaming laptop. It's just, if you're going to get a gaming laptop or you're going to get a console, you may as well just get a console, because it's just, you still get the freedom, but you're limited because the performance of the laptop.
Yeah.
It's just.
And the
like-
thing is, you could actually get two consoles for cheaper than a gaming laptop.
Yeah, no, there are some that you may as well just get two PS5s, and that will last you longer than.
And still probably, depending on your gaming laptop, maybe even be cheaper.
It's
So-
only if you have divorced parents. Don't get two PS5s. There's no point, but.
Yeah, there's no need.
I
Sort of like
think,
graphics cards, get dual 3090s.
triple some of them.
Oh yeah, no.
I
That's
feel like
mad.
server mining. I don't know what you would use.
So
for it.
yeah, unless you're like mining Bitcoin.
Yeah.
But I saw a motherboard and it had 12 RAM slots. I'm like, you don't need 12 RAM slots.
Yeah.
Like, imagine having 32 gigabyte RAM sticks and having 12 of them.
Yeah.
That's just like the most over the top thing I have ever seen in my
have
life.
you seen Linus Tech Tip? He had a 2 terabyte RAM. I think it was.
It's ridiculous. I don't even have 32 gigabytes of RAM. My computer's fast, like, it's perfect. It's just
Well,
like there's a level of like, because the thing is, a PC is like, people will say, do this, do that, you should do this, you should do that, but at the end of the day, every person's situation is different when it comes down to financial situation, like what you want to use your computer for. You need to just do what is most convenient for you and what you're using your computer for, because there, like I saw someone who just got a computer and they didn't care too much about it being too fast because they were streaming through their console. So they were streaming through their console onto their computer, so they can stream on Twitch. So in that case, you have no point unless you plan to game on your computer, spending £1,000 on a gaming PC.
Yeah, I saw. I think there's when you mean like you should do this, you should do that. There is one thing that every PC. I mean, it's 2021. Every PC should have an SSD to boot off.
Agreed. Especially to boot Windows.
Like they don't cost that much. I think some of them are like not
Yeah,
even like they're
Like I
not-
have a 240 GB SSD. It costs me like £40.
yeah,
and
you just
enough
stick
of
it in
that,
the
I've
M.2
got
file and it's done.
yeah, enough of that. I've got my Windows is on my SSD, which makes it so much faster. That's a great tip. Definitely put Windows on your SSD, and just sort of big game that you're going to play a lot, which is Fortnite. But and it makes those games run so fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, an SSD is amazing.
I
And
mean,
then hard drive is good for just storing bulk files and just sort of smaller games that like don't require as much. I don't know what word, but do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Storage. Well, yeah, basically. Um.
Yeah, essentially, yeah, storage.
But I think there's like because with my board I got a 1 TB SSD. I mean, I thought I may as well. It costs the same amount as a 2 TB and a 2 TB hard drive and a 240 GB SSD, and I've still got loads of storage left. And to be honest, I just thought that because I knew I had to start from scratch. I didn't have any like games pre-downloaded. Like,
Yeah, but the thing is, sort of thing is like if I would suggest if you want to make your games faster to start off with a bigger SSD because a hard drive is a lot more easier to just connect up at a later date.
yeah,
Like as long as your case has got like hard drive bays, or even you can even have a hard drive that's not even in your case. You can have one that just
external hard
plugs
drive.
into the USB slot, like an external hard drive. I feel like those are a lot easier to get after you built your PC than an SSD.
Yeah, there is one topic I think we're going into. There is probably swaying to more towards the console side, but it is the everything is a lot easier on console. Like every problem can basically be fixed. With PC, there are thousands of different outcomes for problems. Like I had a lot of problems with my input and output, and it was the smallest issue. Like I mean the smallest. I think it was like one thing that I didn't plug in right, and because of that, I didn't have audio for a whole day. And it was just because I did one thing, and I think I ended up buying a whole Bluetooth adapter, and it was just a complete mess, all because of one thing that I did wrong. And it just shows if that happened on that would never happen on Xbox because it's just everything's so simple. You just plug something in and it works.
I feel like everything within the PC, if I can say based on my experience, I feel like everything within a PC is just sort of quite smooth and straightforward until you unpack that power supply and you put the power supply in the case, and then you have a whole massive sort of stack of cables. Then it can be a bit sort of like, oh god, like where am I going to put all of these? There's loads.
Yeah. Like,
So you need to put. That's where it can get a bit complicated, and that's where you need to sort of take it slowly. Watch a YouTube video. Talk to a friend if they know what they're doing.
never guess because it'll be a whole.
Yeah, and you can end up. But nowadays it is quite straightforward because the cables and the power supply are labelled, so you've got like
the CPU,
like
power
CPU,
yeah.
fan 1, fan 2.
Yeah.
You've got the quite obvious 20x4 pin which connects to the motherboard. You've then got all of those sort of cables that it just sort of makes it a bit easier. But then when it comes to just sort of the smaller things like audio and your USB ports and your headphone jack and your fans, it could get a bit overwhelming.
And even with Windows software, with how audio works, like how you just like easily plug in the headphone jack on the Xbox, automatically detects it. On PC, you have to update drivers. If it could be if your audio thing doesn't work and you're quite a newbie, I could be considered that. You could spend the whole day trying to figure out watching guides, and it turns out that you just forgot to update your drivers, and that's just the one problem with PC. And
yeah,
it's something
Yeah.
that a lot of people just probably could not take.
Yeah, like I feel like there are usually like so there's so many things on a PC that could go wrong that if something isn't working, you sort of assume it's one of those. And then it just sort of happens, and then you realise it's just the smallest thing that's so obvious.
Yeah.
But you stress so much that you're doing something wrong to your PC because it's a lot of money. So you want to like make sure you're doing it correctly, and you don't want to try and ruin it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think early on you talked about how like on my PC build, like the CPU, like we didn't actually pull it in properly with the socket. That
Oh, that was
gave me the
terrifying.
biggest heart attack in the world because I
Oh.
knew if one thing went wrong, that would cost me £270 out the window
Hmm.
right there.
Yeah, but then that meant that when it came to doing my PC,
We
it was
learned
just
from our
like
mistake.
it was
Yeah,
just like clockwork. So
yeah,
I feel like you can have that same thing just as long as you research and you're sure. And I just feel like a PC is something that should not be rushed into. I feel like you should do your research, um, take some time to think about it, compare like the two different factors of why you should versus why you shouldn't get a PC, and then just see essentially which is better, which has got more points in each which category, if that makes sense.
yeah. Um, there's always like I don't know how to explain it. Like you know how you see like oh yeah the best mic or like the best this or the best like editing software, and like some of them they just kind of like you go on the download thing and it's like sometimes it can be a bit daunting because you know when you go on Xbox you go on the Microsoft Store, you know that everything on there is certified.
Yeah,
If you go on PC you have to make sure what you're downloading is
it's not
correct.
dodgy. Yeah,
'Cause-
because you can. There's a lot of dodgy stuff that could be downloaded on your computer and could cause viruses and all sorts. So you need to be conscious.
yeah.
Hmm.
So if you're like a very simplistic person, probably would not recommend the PC because it's just unless you
Mm.
have like someone who could constantly help you, and constantly someone who you could call.
Mm.
Because I'm surfing through those videos to find out your exact problem is going to be a complete hassle.
Mm. No, but I feel like when it came for me building my PC, it was a big step up for me from console. So I feel like when it came to doing my PC, I'm not gonna lie, I had no idea how to install Windows, how to put games on my hard drive instead of my SSD, or add a browser, or add this, or install games, and all the launchers, and all that. I had absolutely no idea. But you learn, you just sort of get the hang of it, you get used to it, and now I know pretty much everything I need to do on my PC. So
It's just the
I feel
habits, isn't it?
I feel like it's so easy to overthink something like this, but I feel like in some ways the best thing you could do within reason is just sort of just do it.
Like
Do now, think later, if that makes sense.
yeah,
Like, you need to just because it's so easy, you can spend months and months and months and months overthinking the smallest thing when you're missing out on months where you could be enjoying yourself on your PC.
yeah, and I think when you mean about overthinking stuff,
That
I think
sounded a
you're
bit wrong. Sorry, go on.
yeah. When you think about like overthinking stuff, I think your graphics card story is just the perfect example. I know you
Yeah,
overthink.
yeah,
And it's just
actually.
like you were spending so much time like, do I want this? Do I need this? I'm gonna wait till
Mm,
the stock goes a little bit lower. It turns out you actually lost the item, but it's fine because you got it. Well, a little bit
mm.
lower one, but you got it in the
Yeah,
end.
I'll tell that story actually. So, what it was when I was building my PC, I could get everything, but the one thing that was out of stock was my graphics card. So I was urgently had all restock monitors on, trying to find a graphics card until I found one, which was a 1660 Super, which is what I was looking for. It was in my price budget, and it was on Amazon, and it said 11 in stock. So I was just sitting there thinking, hmm, that looks quite good. 230 though is a lot of money. And then from there, I was like, oh, should I even get a PC? My whole PC is a lot of money. Do I just stick with my Xbox? And it's just so easy to overthink things. And I ended up watching the stock, and I was like, oh, well, if it goes down to like 3, then I'll get it because I know a lot of people are buying it. And I could even see that the graphics card resold, so I could have even made money on it. So I don't like there was nothing to really overthink. essentially a no-brainer. So it's so easy to overthink. It's just so easy. Like when it comes to a PC, to just overthink everything and the smallest parts. But you need to just sometimes, just within reason, take risks and just do and think later. And yeah, that's just the best sort of advice that I could give to anyone who's building their PC.
Yeah, it's not like a one-time opportunity. If you buy something you don't want it, and that's what I also said. It was on Amazon as well, so he had a month. I think he had 2 months to take it back if he didn't even want it.
Exactly. So it was there was literally no sort of down factor to it. It was a pretty much no-brainer, but I still found something, smallest thing in that situation to overthink about.
Yeah, but sometimes overthinking something is good. Like in some occasions, I can't really name one, but
Yeah, there are
in
some
this
occasions,
topic,
definitely.
but I mean, maybe you can overthink in like upgrading to the new Xbox or to the new PC. But I'll say this: if all the people that you know and all the people who you're friends with all have now PCs, all urge you to get one, look into it, because you won't regret it. If all your friends are on there, you will not regret it. But if all your friends are not, and all your friends are getting the new Xbox or the new PS5, just don't bother, because
Like, I'm not gonna lie, because I'm gonna be brutally honest here. If it wasn't for like Isaac and all my friends getting PCs, I would not be sitting on my one here today. I wouldn't have thought really to even have gone for a PC, because to me it's just a lot of money, and if all my friends have Xboxes, why upgrade to a PC? But now it's just been amazing. Like, I love my computer, and it's just, I'm on it so much more than on my Xbox. I feel like Xbox is easier to get bored on, but I feel like a PC has so many other things that you could do on it that you just don't really get sort of bored.
Yeah.
Can you agree on that?
Yeah, I just feel like I remember the first week that you got your PC. You.
I
No, I
wasn't
think
off of it.
yeah, you weren't.
24/7. I was
'Cause
on my
you
computer.
had a reason to be on it with the
Which is
Xbox.
not a good thing,
You
but I was
just
installing games like Xbox. I play a few games of Fortnite and I get bored and I go watch some Netflix. My PC, I will literally just sit on here talking to friends and just moving and playing different games, some that I can even get for free that cost some money on Xbox. So it's really good.
it's crazy. Like, I downloaded Hitman 3 today. I think the game cost like 90 or like 50. I don't know how much it cost. I think it's like £50.
Hmm.
And you just get it for free, and it just shows like the options that you have. Yes, you spend so much money at the buy-in, but as the outcome, you don't have to pay for online. You don't have to pay really for games anymore if you use them. If you do it
So in the
properly.
end, it works out more efficient.
Yeah, but I
Because the amount
urge.
of games, like, there are some games that I've bought on my console that I could get for free on my PC, and I feel like there are some games that I get for free on my PC that I would never buy on my Xbox. Never, ever, ever. But I absolutely love it.
Hmm. And it just shows like how much like I can explain it is freedom, I guess,
Hmm.
or
Yeah, I feel like there is
opportunities.
definitely a lot more freedom with a
Mm.
PC. Agree.
That's
Mm.
really it, to be honest. But I
Yeah.
urge, if none of the people who you know have PCs, then don't get it, because I know friends that have got it when like no one else had it, and they had to wait I think 2 or 3 years before everyone started getting it. And
Yeah.
I couldn't be like that. I couldn't be that guy, because
Mm.
I'd have to wait longer for everyone to come on. I wouldn't be able to play the games with everyone because crossplay is still a little bit early making. But
Mm.
it is a bright future for consoles and PCs. I will say this, because apparently with the Xbox, an article came out that crossplay is going to be like a new thing in most of the next generation games. So
Yeah.
really, that's quite an upside. But still, if none of your friends are on there, don't get a PC.
Mm.
It's,
Now I feel like there are still, like, we've obviously been very biased towards PCs this podcast, but I do feel like there are still some factors um to why an Xbox may be the right choice for you.
Yeah.
And I feel like some of which is like cost and efficiency, because I feel like PC, yes, because you get your PC, and unless you plan to use controller, then you've then got to buy a mouse pad, you've got to buy a keyboard, you've got to buy a mouse. You sometimes maybe even have to get a monitor if you have a TV or a better monitor, in order to be able to actually use like the FPS that your PC is giving you on your monitor, if that makes sense. So I feel like in some ways an Xbox is in it's depending on how much you plan to use it. Like if let's say you work, right, and you've got a job and you work like a 9 to 5 job and you come home and you haven't got much time, plus you do other things, a PC may not be the best choice for you.
Mm.
But if you're someone, especially with what's going on, like if you're working at home and you like to game in your spare time, then I think a PC is good for you, because then I feel like it gives you the best of both. Like it gives you a nice, comfortable space to work, as well as being able to offer you like a good, strong gaming experience in your spare time.
And I will say this: making friends on PC is so much easier. Like I had
Oh yeah,
when
far
I
easier.
was when I was building my PC, I didn't really have I didn't really ask that many. I mean, I asked loads of people, but I went to Discord for it, and I met these I spoke to loads of the people on Discord chat, and they all said different options. Some of them said the same thing, and I just took the little bit of information and tried to build my PC, and I'm so happy with what I have today. So
Yeah,
it's like yes, even if your friends aren't on there, you can easily make friends if you're nice.
yeah. Like if you're like Isaac and you haven't got too many friends, then I feel like there are so many other things that you can do on your PC when it comes. You've got streaming and content production, and you can video edit, you can produce music, you could do all of these things that you can't do on an Xbox.
It's like just goes back to that. You may as well just name the podcast Freedom, to be honest, because that's basically it.
Yeah, that's definitely. It feels like when you have an Xbox, you're sort of in a bubble and you're limited to what you're able to do. But I feel like when you're in the PC, you just sort of have free roam. Like you can download what you want, you could do what you want, you can use what browsers you want, you can get what parts you want, you can create whatever you want,
And it's like
and that is how I would say what freedom is.
and it's yeah, you see like these YouTube videos, like when I look if I look at something like how do I get this certain item, it always comes up on the browser. Oh, how do I get the certain item for Xbox? How do I get the certain item for PS4 or PS5? You never see how do I get the certain item for PC, because they know that you can get all those options on PC already.
Mm,
And that is the point made right there, that PC is more free. It has more freedom because you can
mm,
do what you want,
yeah,
and
mm,
if you like that, then and your
yeah,
friends are on PC, then get it because
yeah. Like I feel
it's,
like when I was building my computer, like as I've sort of said throughout this podcast, it took me a lot of time to really look into it and figure out why I should spend this money and why me spending this much money on a computer is good for me and beneficial. And I feel like it took me some time, but when you really deeply think about it and you think about what you're capable of doing on your Xbox and then the possibilities that like lie with a PC, it was inevitable.
yeah. There's just so many possibilities, but
Mm.
and I think what's it also with how you see like next gen titles, they always talk about these new things. Like I'll go
Yeah,
back to RTX because a new thing for Xbox is RTX. Like I think they've now started to bring it out on Minecraft, and we've had that for quite a bit now. And it just shows in the future when a new program comes out, how long is it going to take the people on Xbox to get that? And if you
yeah,
like that, if you like the sort of innovative stuff that I don't know Nvidia does or AMD does, or even Intel, I think it would be, I don't know, quite beneficial.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that definitely.
Yeah, we are quite a bit into the podcast. We're on 40 minutes.
Not bad.
I don't know. I feel like we kind of covered really every topic. But
Yeah.
if there are more, please put them in the comments below. Because
Yeah, because
sure.
we plan to do a podcast every week, and it doesn't necessarily have to even be tech related. If it's sort of, if you want us to talk more about, you know, politics and how things work within the UK, anything really, just drop it in the comments below, and we'll do it.
Yep. Anyway, hope you're
Perfect.
having a great day.
You too. Thank you very much for tuning in, and we hope to see you next week.
Right, bye.